The Preface to Letters from Mrs Palmerstone to Her Daughter, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Anne Fletcher. Letters from Mrs Palmerstone to Her Daughter, Volume 1, by Rachel Hunter. A dialogue between the author and his reader, Mr Not at All, by way of preface to the author's book. Author: As I presume to bring this book for your perusal, it is expected without doubt that I should make an apology. Reader:
Not at all. If your book be a good one, it needs no apology, and if it be a bad one, your apology cannot make it better. Not all the prohibitions which may be enforced will prevent my reading it in the first instance, nor all your supplications induce me to throw away my time upon it in the second.
I see, sir, unexpected visits are not within the sphere of your indulgence. You look upon this as an intrusion.
Not at all. My doors are open to everybody. I welcome all my visitors, and turn my back on none but pretenders.
Give me leave to call upon you another time. Your honour is a little out of humour at present.
Not at all. I am in the humour of saying what I think. If you call this ill humour, you will never find me in a good one.
Well, well, I will drop my apology, and content myself with telling your honour how I, poor soul, who know nothing of authorship, and should shrink from the criticism of a schoolboy, came to be of the number of your suitors. For, unqualified as I am, you wonder no doubt at my motive, and are impatient to know the particulars.
Not at all. I know your motive as well as you do yourself, and to enter into a long detail of the matter would only give you some trouble, and myself no pleasure whatever.
I intended entertaining your honour with some short instructive narratives of my composition, but as I have already taken up too much of your time, you would be angry with me were I to detain you any longer, would you not?
Not at all. I love entertaining stories, especially short ones, as you say yours are. Begin, therefore, as soon as you please. Oh, but walk in, and do not keep me any longer at the door. I am very subject to catch cold.
Before I begin my narratives, I should tell your honour that they were intended for the service and instruction of youth, and as much has been written on this subject, you may perhaps think it is exhausted.
Not at all. If any one had the good fortune of introducing into a book the whole of what should be and has not been said on this subject, I would pronounce it without hesitation one of the best books in the world.
Say you so? I am glad your honour thinks as I do, and on the strength of this our agreement, I will venture to send this book of mine into the world. Should it fail of success, and be left to the mercy of a certain species of rats, they will soon demolish it, as they have very little to nibble at besides the ill-fated productions of mistaken talents. I am, however, strongly tempted to give your honour a detail of those circumstances which first led me to my present design, and broke in upon habitual indolence and natural timidity. But perhaps I shall weary you.
Not at all. I have, in common with my neighbours, some curiosity and no objection to its gratification. Begin, therefore.
Some months since I was gratified by the unexpected visit of a friend, from whom time and distressing events had separated me for several years. But neither absence nor those circumstances which I feared had involved his fortune and happiness in the ruin of thousands could remove entirely from my mind the hope that in his integrity, his talents, and his industry he had found a refuge against misery. It had been the employment of his rational life to instruct youth in those lessons of wisdom and prudence which he undeviatingly exemplified in his own conduct, and with the most lively satisfaction I found on our meeting that those hopes which I had cherished during my painful uncertainty respecting his actual condition were realized. From the post of private preceptor he was become in this country a public teacher in the various branches of polite and useful literature, and with honour and increasing esteem enjoyed in competence and ease the recompense of his assiduity and zeal in his professional duties, and important cares of instruction, of precept and example to the untutored and innocent. In our conversations on his favourite topic, education, he complained of a difficulty I was no ways prepared to expect. He said he wanted books for his female pupils, and particularly for those between 12 and 17 years of age. I instantly reminded him of the numberless and excellent works published for the express purposes of instruction to young people, and with some asperity, I believe, and perhaps national pride, named several authors who had a distinguished claim to his selection and preference. He replied he was well acquainted with the books which I had enumerated. He acknowledged their merit, and had availed himself of their usefulness. But, added he, smiling, some are too serious, and others too childish. Some say too much, and others not enough. I want a delineation of the human heart with a moral which will not disgrace a mature reason. I want a mirror of truth and of nature, in which my girls may see themselves without danger to their native simplicity, and without checking too harshly their natural curiosity and fancy. I smiled in my turn, and drawing from my work-basket a parcel of Mrs. Palmerstone's letters to her daughter, which I had provided for the occasion, I placed them in his hands. "There," said I, "read those letters. They are the production of an English mother, who I suspect found herself under the same difficulty of which you complain. Read them, and tell me frankly whether the design or the subjects answer your ideas." Betrayed perhaps by his ingenuous simplicity, which gave importance to the feeblest attempt to favour and promote the cause of virtue, he decidedly approved the little work, and engaged my promise to prepare it for the press. We amused ourselves with the importance of the character I was about to assume, and the wreath of fame with which he engaged to decorate my brows himself at our next meeting. We parted, and in 6 short weeks a life at once useful, honourable, and virtuous was terminated in a premature grave. For some time all intercourse with Mrs. Palmerston was suspended. Insensibly I recalled with the painful regrets which obtruded on my mind and depressed my spirits my friend's opinion of the work before me, and the purposes which he had judged it calculated to answer. A sort of interest, which I will not here define, now stimulated my industry, and I found a secret satisfaction in my progress by thinking it contained somewhat of his honest and pure intentions. But I'm afraid I've tired your honour with this long account of motives in which you have so little concern.
Oh, not at all. By no means. I'm not naturally ill-natured, although somewhat impatient. It is true your book and your private sorrows have little to do with each other, but I have not that fastidiousness which turns from the tribute of esteem and lost comfort because it's out of its place.
Your kindness encourages me. The letters of Mrs. Palmerston are now finished, and I send them into the world friendless and unsupported, except indeed your honour, but I will not be too bold. I shall be satisfied if the eye of virtue deigns to regard the writer as the humblest of her train. If one child of unsophisticated nature approves the lessons she has inculcated, she will be recompensed. End of the preface.